Hey guys, Pretzelman945 here. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I have another idea from my comments, which I have been quite excited to do for a while now, and this is ranking Lego Star Wars minifigures by their accuracy. And what I mean by accuracy is how closely do they resemble a um actual the actual character. So we have exact look-alike, very accurate, decently close, pretty generic. How did you miss that much Lego? And IDK the character based on the minifig because some of these are just I have no idea like what it's supposed to be in the first place, so I can't even properly rank it. Um Now, a lot of these are going to be hard to rank because these are some horribly cropped images, but we're gonna try and do our best here. Um, so I mean, I feel like that is unrankable because it is just a body shot. Um, I think these are all the same, like, model of Battle Droid, and I think like the color is kind of off, but I think all three of those are pretty close. Um, the Boba Fett is kind of generic. That one's definitely a miss. That one in particular, like that one, just the helmet was not uh colored right, or the lighting was bad in the screenshot or something like that. Um, this one is better, but still not amazing. The Darth Maul one, I would say, is actually very accurate. I would say, at least in terms of his Phantom Menace appearance. I think we've done a lot better there. This is interesting, like two different versions of Vader, because I feel like they're pretty different. I think that this one is pretty close, but this one is like exactly accurate, or very accurate, I should say. This one is a lot closer to model, I think, just because I think the coloring's a bit better. Um, so I can't see the faces too well on this one, but I think the ones with the helmets are getting a heavy advantage in this tier list because the helmet designs are going to be what I mainly see of the head here, so that does heavily influence things for me. But I think that the Scout Trooper helmet here and the body and design, stuff like that, all very accurate. Okay, I am back to recording. I was eating dinner. Let's get back to it. Okay. I have no idea what that thing is supposed to be. That is incredibly cursed looking. Um, is this supposed to be young Anakin? Okay, like, look, you kind of got the clothing right, but like, what is with that face, dude? And I don't know. I mean, it's supposed to be one of the pilots. I don't know which one. I think that's pretty generic. Um, is this supposed to be B3PO? He's so big. Why is 3PO such a beige color? This is terrible. Okay. And then we have two versions of Chewbacca here. One is like a darker brown, and I honestly can't decide which one I think is. I'm leaning toward I'm leaning toward this one being more accurate than the other one based on the color. Um, and actually, I'm gonna move each of them up a tier. Um, I mean, I think all of these pilot guys are just very generic. Um, I don't think this is supposed to be Jar Jar. I think this is supposed to be just like a generic Gungan, which I think is very accurate. Um, all these Han Solo ones are decently close because like he doesn't really have that complicated of like a facial pattern to need to replicate necessarily. Um, is that him in his snow clothes? I'm not really sure who that's supposed to be actually. Jar Jar, I actually think is kind of a perfect look-alike. Uh, this is they have like two Return of the Jedi versions of Luke here. Um, uh, um, hmm, I mean, to be honest, like, I mean, I guess that one is closer than the other one, but neither of those are that great in my opinion. I mean, like, all of these are quite generic. That one's not. That one's not bad. Uh, like body design is a little bit better on that, but just the faces was really killing all these Luke figures. I have no idea who that's supposed to be. Um, okay, so we have like a Ben Kenobi figure, I think this is. I think that's decently close. Uh, another version that I can't quite see the top of, but I don't know, the design looked a little bit more accurate from what I can see, so I would say that looks quite accurate, probably. I think this is like supposed to be a generic Jedi figure, which fits into the pretty generic here. This is Padme. That's pretty bad. Uh, Leia is just kind of eh. Uh, Qui-Gon actually looks very good, I would say. Something about like the basic features of the face suits Qui-Gon pretty darn well. Um, I also think that this R2 is a great thing, along with I think all these droids are honestly kind of neat. Um, uh, is this supposed to be just like a random Rebel Alliance officer? Is that who this is supposed to be? I mean that's pretty generic to me. Same thing with all of these guys. There's so many of these just like pilot models that are insanely generic to me. um, I think that this one is a little bit better than the others. Same thing with that one, so they're gonna move up a tier. Um, um, is that? I don't really see any changes between the three of these ones. Um, I mean, I'd say all three of these are Actually, all three of these I would actually say are kind of exact copies to me. They're all very impressive looking. This stormtrooper is a miss to me. This one is better, and then this one we code with gas. That one's very accurate. Uh, I don't remember what that droid is, or what this blue thing is, or what that droid is, which I think is like the same type as this droid, but I don't know what either droid is. Um, so the Royal Guard, do I like the black or red hand pieces better? I think I slightly prefer the black hand pieces. So they're gonna go in separate tiers because of that. Is this supposed to be the first Palpatine figure? I'm sorry, but that's a miss. That face is terrible. You cannot tell who that is because that's a terrible cropping. This guy, I think he's from like one of the speed racers from Phantom Menace or something like that. I'd say like an exact look-alike with his design, to be honest. And I have no idea what that's supposed to be. That's a total miss. Even though you only see part of the body here, I feel like this is probably the most accurate Han Solo figure. I'm gonna say very accurate for that. Pretty generic Imperial officer. The security battle droid. This is actually like a spot on replica here. And I think that this is the best looking model of the battle droid that we have so far. I have no idea who that's supposed to be, and oh my god, that's an Ewok? Oh, that is the worst one yet. Why does that thing look like it was just completely covered in chocolate? That is horrible. Um, Total miss on that one. Okay, so this Yoda figure is kind of iconic. It is not super accurate, but like, I mean, I think it's decently close. I think it's decently close, and I kind of want to rank it higher because of that. I would say the Tusken Raider is very accurate. They did a great job with that one there. With Jango Fett, they definitely learned the lessons from the different Boba designs, and I think that they got one that was decently close to there. And I think this is meant to be young Boba, which is kind of a generic looking one, not that close. And then we have two versions of young Obi-Wan. I mean, uh, they kind of look the same to me. I think that they're both kind of close. Um, okay, I had to respond to a text. Okay, Super Battle Droid. I think Super Battle Droid is very accurate, but also not as close as some of the other droids that I've looked at. I think it's like honestly don't know who that's meant to be. The Clone Trooper, like top tier, amazing looking. Uh, is that meant to be Zam Wetzel? I do not. The I don't know. That seems like a miss to me. I think this is the first model of Count Dooku. You know what? For a first model, that's decently close for Dooku. Um, What is this supposed to be? Like a commando droid or something? I honestly don't know what that's supposed to be. Um, so I think this is supposed to be a normal Geonosian, although it looks more like a Geonosian zombie from that one Clone Wars arc. Um, Either way, I think that it is a very accurate Geonosian, no matter what version it's really going for. And I don't really know which droid those are supposed to be. I think this is the first model of a pilot battle droid, which I think the kind of blue isn't as good as some of the other models seem to look later on. This Palpatine model is slightly better. That's decently close, I would say. The coloring on the robes, I would say, is a bit better on that one. Again, I have no idea what the fuck this Ewok coloring is. That is disgusting. Um, another, I mean, this is kind of the same as Glass Luke one, to be honest with you. I have no idea who that's supposed to be. Leia in a bikini? I had no idea there was a Lego minifigure of this, and the fact that there is one, I find quite hilarious, to be honest. Um, uh, I guess it's decently close. Jabba the Hutt is also pretty good, but I just think the coloring of the green is a bit off. I don't know. I think these are meant to be like the Gonk droids, whatever they're called. I would say both of these are very accurate, and I don't know what kind of droid that's supposed to be. Big Fortuna, I think is like an exact lookalike, but um, so we have a Geonosian with wings. I mean, that can kind of go alongside the other one. Um, Golly, there's a lot of these. Okay, so I mean, the version with a cape, I mean, I think that's slightly better, but not like that much. Well, I mean, the cape does add a bit. I'm gonna move that up a fair bit. The Snowtrooper is like an exact replica. This is definitely the best Han Solo one we've seen thus far. Very accurate, I would say. I don't know who that is supposed to be. Um, there is another Han Solo one, which I mean, I think it's like his Return of the Jedi after being unfreezed in Jabba's palace look. I mean, this one is actually like the skin color is more accurate in general. This Lando one, despite the fact this is the first Lando one, I think this is like one of the best ones we've seen. I think that is like uh probably the best one we will get in this video, maybe. Um, uh, I can't tell based on badly cropped screenshots. Um, Generic. Okay. This is a little bit better because it has a little bit more of a facial expression. And then we go right back to genericness. I think this is meant to be a shock Cooper, which I gotta say, very accurate there. Okay. This model of Super Valjoy is much better. Much better. That's like an exact replica. Um, And this is like an Imperial Army trooper, or is it just like one of the vehicle drivers, whatever the name of it is? That's like an exact look-alike there. Um, your generic pilot one. Um, uh, that one. Where did I rank the other pilot at? Void at? I don't remember. Uh, okay, I'm gonna move that one down then, and this one I'm going to call an exact lookalike, and this one is not as good as the other one because I think the red is a bit too dark. Um, ooh, and then we have a sand trooper. The detail on this is absolutely incredible. This is another one of the best ones. I remember that fondly because I used to have a Lego minifigure of that one specifically. Um, I think, is this meant to be like young Jedi Anakin? I mean, I think both of those look like very generic Jedi to me. What is the difference between this and the other snow trooper that I already... Oh, the body is different. I didn't even notice that. Okay. That actually moves the other one down a few tiers to me. And then this is the Imperial Army Trooper. Very, like exact look like I would actually say. Um, I'm not sure who that's supposed to be. Or that, to be honest, or that. Okay, so Lando Calrissian, I think, is very accurate looking. Um, hmm. This is another just a terrible version of Boba Fett. I don't know who that's supposed to be. Both versions of this stormtrooper look very accurate, I would say. I think those are both good ones. Um, I think this is meant to be Greedo. Very good job on him. Uh, Decently close with Han Solo, but it can't be higher just because the skin color doesn't match correctly. And see, here we have much better Leia skins. The only difference is like this one has a much better hair color, so very accurate for her. And this Imperial officer is much better because of the face color, but um, so I would say decently close just for that improvement. I think this Snow Cooper is like literally the exact same as the other one. Uh, and I think this is meant to be Luminara Unduli, and honestly, this is fantastic work. Uh, and I think, hmm, oh, yeah, I don't think that this Vader is as close as the other one. So, this is like a slightly less accurate version of the Imperial Army Trooper, but still very good. Both of these versions of Anakin are terrible. Uh, Lego was not cooking with that one at all. Very accurate Stormtrooper. This version of Vader is like much better in my opinion. I think these may be the same figure. I'm not completely sure. Uh, Golly, we have a lot of these. Okay. Um. Okay, so this one is the first Palpatine figure where they made the face gray, I guess. And I think that it looked much, much better than other Palpatine versions. I'm gonna say very accurate for that. I don't. What kind of is this meant to be like a? I think these are meant to be like Phase 2 clone troopers and not stormtroopers. I think that's decently close. The one with the wings is slightly better, maybe, and kind of around the same for me, same territory. Um, and I think all of these colored clones are probably going to go together because I think something about the color really adds a lot to that. And then of course we have the Kashyyyk Trooper, which is just like basically perfect matte. I don't know who that's supposed to be. Okay, so the first of I think a few different Mace Windu figures here. I think this is um I think this one is decently close. Both these versions of Grievous are just complete misses. Um, uh, Golly, maybe I should have put a shorter tier list here. This version of Obi-Wan, very accurate, I would say. And the Buzz Droid is honestly top tier. I think that is easily the best droid that we have seen so far on this list. Very impressive looking there. This Obi-Wan is also extremely accurate. Um, this version of Vader, I mean, it's also great. It's just him without a cape on, essentially. This is a unique one. It's uh like burned face version of Anakin. I think that's decently close. I don't really know who that's supposed to be. The Jawa is top tier. Did fantastic job with that. I don't know which droid this is, but it does look like very accurate to an astromech droid. I have no idea what that thing is. I think this is like the torture droid from Jabba's palace, which I'm gonna say is very accurate to its actual thing. I don't remember what any of those are. How does this version of Mace Windu compare? I think it's pretty good, but neither version of Mace Windu is that amazing. Um, I don't know who that is meant to be, or that, or that. We have another good version of Obi-Wan there. I don't remember what this character is called, but he does look very accurate. Um, that is generic as hell. Pretty close on that droid. The mouse droid is an exact look-alike. Um, I think this is meant to be Karkin, which is decently close. I don't know what droid that's meant to be. This young Anakin is very accurate. And the pod racer, I mean, like the face is a little bit generic there. Um, we have two different versions of C3PO. For some reason, this one is a lot darker, so that one's not as good, but this one is very accurate. Um, Holy moly, there are so many different versions of the same fucking Obi-Wan minifigure. Um, uh, Hit Fisto is kind of a disappointment because the shade of green is completely wrong. Uh, but this Droidica is very accurate, I will say. And I don't know what that is supposed to be. I think these are meant to be like shadow troopers, in which case both of those are very well done. Holy moly, we still have a lot of these to go. Okay. Um, Golly, okay. Um, Generic, uh, pretty good droid. I don't know who that is. The probe droid, is very accurate, I would say. Looks like generic Jedi to me. Um, or Jedi, I don't know. Another generic Obi-Wan figure. Um, Between these versions of Leia, I think that this one looks the best. The other ones are still decently close, however. Um, this version of Luke is better than some of the others, but I haven't really found a very good version of Luke yet. Um, I think I'm not gonna rank those two because those are just repeats. I've already ranked the same Han Solo figure. I genuinely don't know who that is. Um, is this meant to be Star Killer? I kind of wanna look this up. Star Killer minifigure. Yeah, yeah, I think it is, which is interesting that he's on here. I definitely wouldn't have expected that. In terms of like actual Star Killer, I mean, the face is really what hurts him here. It's unfortunately kind of just generic. I don't remember who that guy is. So the Clone Wars designed face, I think, just works fantastic on Anakin here. This is easily the best version of Anakin that we're seeing in this tier list. We have the a commando bound droid, which looks very accurate as well, I think. The rebel trooper, very accurate as well. I've already ranked a gazillion version of stormtroopers. A Magna Guard, even though we can't see the full image, I do think it is very accurate. Um, okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. Honestly, this is like this kind of the worst version of the Phase 1 clone. I don't really know what we were trying here. Ahsoka is decently close. It's just something about the facial features being like too crunched up together is what kind of throws it off a bit. Um, Rod of the Hutt looks amazing. Uh, Captain Rex, I think, is pretty close, but also struggles from the same thing of having the facial features a bit too cramped together. Ventress, I think, is honestly very accurate. Uh, Cody, I think, fixes the Rex problem and is very accurate. Obi-Wan, like the Clone Wars design, is obviously top tier, like exact look-alike based on the show with Anakin there. Plo Koon, I think, is decently close, but not the best it could be. I've already ranked a gazillion versions of these clones. Um, what is his name? Commander Fox or something like that? I think he's an exact lookalike. And no, I'm gonna put him in the same tier as Cody, actually. I think this is Wolf, which is the same as Rex to me. Um, all three of them in the Stormtrooper costumes. I mean, just the long hair honestly looks pretty bad here. That is very generic, and that one, I guess that one's decently close, I would say. Old Obi-Wan, I mean, this one is pretty generic to me. That's like the most generic Luke one yet. Uh, okay, so these are I think these might actually be what are called the Death Troopers. These are extremely accurate. A version of Vader is like pretty much the exact same as all the other ones. This Palpatine, I'm going to put in the top tier because even though it doesn't really resemble the movie version that much, like this sort of facial expression that they made, this is like iconic among Lego minifigures, and it kind of means that Sidious has sort of made his own status separately as like a different look that can be attributed to Sidious in terms of his Lego form, because I think that's how good this one looks. Um, I can't tell what kind of droid that's supposed to be or that. I mean, that's a pretty good droid. I'm not ranking all these versions of Vader again. There's so many of these, like fucking hell. Um, like why are there so many Vader versions? Um, I don't know what that is. Where did I put the other R2 ones? Okay, I'm gonna put this R2 in the top tier because this is like clearly the most refined version of R2D2. This version of Yoda is also much better. This is like exactly what his Clone Wars version looks like. Uh, so proper credit there. Same thing with Mace Windu. I think this one looks much better. I'm not gonna put up an exact look-alike tier, but it is much better. I don't know who that clone is, but IG Droid is honestly very accurate, I would say. I'm not sure who that clone is. I think this version of Dooku is decently close, but something about the hair kind of feels a bit too spiky. Like he looks a little bit too much like Wolverine. I don't know what droids those are supposed to be. Those are the same versions of the droids I've already ranked. We have a clone with a jetpack, which I think is kind of close. Uh, I don't know who that is supposed to be. I think is this camouflage Leia? I think it is. I think this is a very accurate version of Leia. So good job on that one. And then all of these Ewoks are much better than whatever absolute horror monstrosities uh these two things were meant to be. um I think both of these guys are fairly generic. Um, the Rhodian, I think, looks very accurate, and Newt Gunray is honestly an exact look-alike. Same thing with Chancellor Palpatine. I think that did a fantastic job on that and his expression. The Senate Guard is very accurate. Um, I don't really know who that is. This version of Akbar is kind of generic, but this is the really iconic look, which is very accurate. And then we have, I think, the only Mon Mothma one, which I think the hairstyle is a little off, but I think it's decently close. And I don't remember what this guy's name is, but his model is very accurate to the movies. I don't know what that droid is. We have another version of Obi-Wan and Han Solo. I have no idea what that thing is, and I guess this last one is meant to be Saboba, which I guess is decently close. It's just the like what is with the gray? I don't know. And yeah, that does it for this tier list. This was a fun and unique tier list to make. Thank you for the comment that suggested it. And if you have any other general video ideas that you would like to see me do, let me know in a comment. Also, let me know what you think of my tier list as well. And for now, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.